Om Namah Shivaya. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. That's nice. There's a Western gentleman that I just saw. You're giving him the ride tomorrow. Yes. So he came up to me and he says, "Are you a Swami?" So I said, I'm not sure how to answer that. I think I am, but I'm not sure. So he said, regardless, you must be great because you've brought all these people to come here from the San Francisco. So I said, that's true. They have all come. So anyway, that was nice. Just a few more points on verse number 6 and 7, and then we'll go ahead. So in verse 6, there is a word achintyam. Achintyam. So achintyam means cannot be thought about. So, the first reaction is that you're asking me to think about it. So this is also an important concept that distinguishes Advaita Vedanta from all other sampradayas, which is you don't gain freedom by removing all thoughts, which is the cardinal principle of yoga. In yoga, the approach of the Nirvikalpa Samadhi is that all problems in life that we face, all problems in life that we experience, not face, but to experience, actually experience, is a result of thoughts of one kind or the other. And as we saw in the Jainism, in answer to the question from Satish last night, the premise is that you need to have very good thoughts. So the Shuddhi, the Antakarana Shuddhi in Jainism is that you need to improve your thoughts to such a degree that they're all flowing into very positive direction. Very pleasant thoughts, very helpful thoughts for others. So no anger, no jealousy, no all those negative emotions. And if you keep on improving, keep on doing it, and who knows how many lives it might take, then at some point in time, you merge into the Mahapurusha who is completely free. This is their premise. Yoga, on the other hand, has a different view. In yoga, as you know, the approach is you should become adept at removing all thoughts from your mind. Consciously. It turns out the thoughts are automatically removed for you during sushupti, by deep sleep. Automatically. There's no thoughts. But that's in the deep sleep, you don't know it. So that doesn't help. What yoga says is that yes, you remove all thoughts from yourself consciously, deliberately, through the Ashtanga, all the 8 forms of it, by doing meditation and slowly removing all thoughts. When all thoughts are removed, you will be mukta. All thoughts will be removed. We don't agree with that. We don't agree with that because removing thoughts is an action. And all actions have a result. And all actions are finite. And all actions have finite, and therefore all actions have finite results. Again, the same mathematical logic that we see before. You cannot generate infinity. You cannot approach infinity. You are either infinity or you are not. And at this point, we don't think we are infinity, but in fact you are. It's a mistake. So by Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Nirvikalpa Samadhi is a karma phala. It is a result of an action. And you can see this. I don't know how the yogis can answer this. This is very interesting. That if you are in samadhi, it is only for a certain amount of time, even though the Mahayogis can do it for a long time. And in fact, there are instances that you can arrest your breathing and your metabolism to such an extent, like a hibernating bear, that you can last for a long time. And there are records of people being buried underneath the earth for several months. So all that is possible. All that is possible. But at one time or the other, the samadhi concludes. No wise man says that the samadhi will result in everlasting peace. Swami Akhandananda gives this example many, many times. He says, I have seen, if you read this book that I was telling you about, the Pavana Prasanga, he gives us examples. He says, one time I met this guy who was in samadhi for a long time. And there were people all accumulated, and he had said that I'm going to come out of samadhi in 6 months or some very long period. Very impressive. So he was a Siddha Purusha. And so he came out of the samadhi and everybody was there. Swamiji says, record has it that he was very irritated. He was very, very upset that I am now out of samadhi. What is going on? Hunger then comes in. All kinds of things happen. So the end of this thing is not good. That's not moksha. That is just siddhi. We don't believe in that at all. Absolutely. Not only believe in it, we see it as silly. And we say that in fact, if the lack of thoughts would liberate you, you'll be liberated in deep sleep. That's it. You cannot do that. Yes, a feeling of liberation is imparted to you at deep sleep, but it doesn't really result in moksha. No. Then what results in moksha? What results in moksha, as we have seen, is that you need to, this is what is called Brahmavritti. Brahmavritti. So Brahmavritti means a thought which says, oh my goodness, I am complete. You can call it Purnavitti. It's a vritti. It's a thought. So the question is, if there is a thought, then how can you be free? Because you yourself said, this is the Purva Paksha saying, that you can yourself said that the self is without thoughts. And we say, yes, that's true. So now you say that the Brahmavritti is a thought. And you say that that is what results in moksha. So you are violating your own principle. So we say we don't. What happens is that there is a wrong thought up to the point of Brahmavritti. This is what's called Brahma Akara Vritti. Brahma Akara Vritti. So up to the Brahma Akara Vritti, you have a Abrahmakara Vritti, means that I am a limited person. And so, it is very interesting that you don't go around telling anybody that I am a limited person, I am a limited person. That's not what we say. But what happens is that in and through your entire experience, there is a background Shruti which says, I'm a limited person, I'm a limited person. I need help, I'm not completely happy, I'm not completely happy, I'm not completely happy. I'm occasionally happy, mostly unhappy. All those kinds of things that's going on. This is what is called like a tanpura in the background of your mind. It's completely done. And by the way, what you can do is temporarily suspend it. That is the secret of the so-called happy hour. It is called happy hour. So in happy hour, it's very interesting, the drinks are half off. So you're expected to have at least 2 drinks, not just once. If you just take 1 glass of wine or 1 alcohol and so on, this Shruti does not go yet. It is still saying, I am an unhappy person, I need more, I need so. So then the bartender gives you, and so you finish it very quickly and gives you another one, and another one. Until this Shruti is submerged. That I am an unhappy person, I am limited, I am limited. Alcohol controls it. It just kind of like puts a cap on it. So for the time being, you don't feel that you're an unhappy person, you feel I'm okay. I'm all right. How long does that last? Not very long. Same thing on anesthesia. When you go for a general anesthesia, this Shruti is suspended for a while. All feelings are suspended. So, those are exceptions to the rule, but by general rule, your entire life, this Shruti is always there in the background. So this is a thought that permeates everything that you do. So what is said is that this thought is not valid. Not valid. Why is it not valid? Because this thought stems from your limited experiences and reinforces it. So if you're supposing you have a pain in the body somewhere, all of a sudden you have a cramp. So the cramp reminds you that you are a very limited person. And if the cramp goes and something else comes up, that reinforces you are a very limited person. See, you are full of problems. So pretty soon, this becomes a natural feeling. It's interesting. Very, 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 if you look at a child, when a child is born and starts to grow up, the child does not have this feeling. Does not have this feeling that I am a limited person. If you observe a child, this is very, very instructional. We have a couple of very young grandkids and we just observe it. So they can be unhappy. They can be saying, I'm crying, I want this. Or if it's even younger, then they don't even say, I want this, they're just crying. So you have to figure out what's wrong. So this is what happens. Our son and daughter-in-law, when our youngest grandson starts crying, they have to figure out, is he hungry? Is he wet? So there are three things that occur to this youngster when they start crying. Either he's hungry, or he's wet, needs his diaper changed, or he's tired and wants to go to sleep. This is what happens. So the child doesn't even say that. But then as the child grows up, we have a 3-year-old granddaughter, then she has dukkha, like the younger one does, but she can now express it. And she says, I want this. So you can, no, you cannot have this, you just have it. No, I want this. And she starts crying. Okay? So she has problems, no doubt about it. She experiences, not has, but she experiences problems. But the experiences of the problems does not result in, I am a limited person. Not yet. Not yet. So the next stage is, when they go to school, I remember this so well from my childhood. There was, I don't know how old I was. I guess I was, maybe 6 or 7. And so my family sent me to a kind of like a Boy Scout class. And they were teaching how to make these knots, reef knot and all these kinds of knots, and then you have to recite some verses or something like this. And I remember I didn't do very well. And I was kind of in the bottom of the class out of 10 or 12 people or so on. So the teacher had to say, hey, you're not done yet? And I still remember the feeling I failed. And this then occurs several times in different situations. I failed. Even then, there is not a feeling that I'm a limited person. All it happens is I failed. Then what happens is, there are enough cases in the life, the I failed turns into I am a failure. This is the start of the limited person. And there is nobody who doesn't feel that. Because we all want to be perfect, and we cannot be perfect. So we all eventually say, I am a failure. So the I am a failure, I mean, you don't go around saying I'm a failure, that's not what I'm saying. But deep down below, you say, I can never reach the sense of accomplishment. And so that is a reflection of I'm a limited person. And you accept it because you don't know what else to do. That part is okay, but you feel that I am a limited person. So this thought is faulty. Why? Because it is based on your life's experiences. That's all. Experiences generate this thought, and the thought really reinforces the experiences. It becomes push and pull, and you're caught. But this is not a fact. It's like in a dream. So the fact of the matter is that you are complete. You're never incomplete. You're total. Brahma Akar. So what we need to do is to have a thought that cancels the other one. You see? So it's the same. This is the example given of the rope and snake. So I understand there was a big snake today. Somebody took pictures of it and so on. It's and so in the rope and snake, it's a different example, but the thought that this is a snake is a faulty thought. And the fault, you cannot, see, just look at this. Supposing you conclude that it, and I think we did this a little while ago, it just reminds me, I'm just repeating it for this context. Supposing you see a snake, and now and it's a faulty conclusion that it's a snake. How is it going to go? It is going to go, is it going to go by removing all thoughts? No, not possible. Is it going to go by removing all bad thoughts and keep saying, well, you know, all snakes are not poisonous. Maybe this one is okay. This is an okay snake, this is an okay snake, this is an okay snake. It will never bite me, it will never bite me. I'm okay, I'm safe sleeping in this bed, even though there is a snake underneath me. I think God will protect me. I think I'm going to be okay. I'm okay, I'm working on it. Is that going to help? Or is it going to be removing all thoughts as soon as there's, remember that story I told you about the egg and the potato? So you'll say I don't want to think about it. What was I not thinking about it? Snake. No, I should not be thinking of the snake. No thoughts. Om, 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 Om. Snake comes in. Not possible. So what corrects the faulty thought of the snake is to see it is not a snake. So a positive thought that it is not a snake eliminates the thought that it is a snake. This is what is called Brahma Akara Vritti. Okay? So I'm projecting all this for the word Achintyam. you cannot think about it. So, Vedanta says, you cannot be free without thinking. And now here it says, it cannot be thought about. So this is a conflict. Vedanta says you have to think about it, you have to think about it. Now says this is unthinkable. How can I think about something which is unthinkable? So this has to be properly understood. Really, this is what the study of the Shastra really means. We have to be very clear about what needs to be done, and so on. So in fact, at this point, I saw that I think if I had to do this again, I would really make some very quick notes to make sure that I have to go back and forth. Okay. On page 104, he has a headline here which says, meditation on the self is not an experience. So he's saying what I am saying. This is what I am trying to convey. That meditation on the self is not an experience. How is that not an experience? Because what it says is, you cannot think about something which is not thinkable. You cannot think about it. In fact, all the other words that we saw earlier become relevant here. For example, we saw avyaktam. See? So achintyam, avyaktam, both come together. Avyaktam means never manifest. I am never manifest. This is the main issue, I tell you. I keep looking for myself as a manifest entity. Experience is a manifest entity. And I remember, I can just tell you this from our own, from teaching and from learning when we studied the Shastra under Swami Dayanandji, quite frankly, I can just tell about myself, I was looking for an experience. And the experience of fullness, so it was a very beautiful thing, because when I met Swamiji, started with Swami Chinmananji and got enhanced by listening to Swami Dayanand, what I found was that when I am listening to him, my mind gets amazingly quiet. Amazingly quiet. I had never experienced that before. Never experienced that. Just from the exposure to the teaching, just sitting in the class, it was a great experience. My mind was quiet, and a quiet mind, well controlled, without any force or anything, is a very pleasant thing. And so I really had that experience. The issue that became problematic is that experience is what I was seeking all the time, without really understanding that this is an experience which itself is not necessary for knowledge. That was missing. It took me a long time because then the experience would disappear. And so if I was not in a class, I did not, and I would often come here to listen to him. And I'll go to Rishikesh often and see him. Every time I'd go there, that experience of a quiet mind and a very peaceful analysis and so on was very good. But it was still an experience. And it would go away if I'm away from the teaching, just busy with work and so on and so forth. Even though I was generally happy by that time, but not having that high of of having a fullness, a state of fullness was not there. It took me a long time to generate it on my own, without really attending a class, without teaching a class, and it's not as though it's there all the time, but I can have some idea of what it is. That is knowledge. An experience is not knowledge, as we have said before. So therefore, going back to this thing, achintyam means, how can I think about something which is unthinkable, which is avyaktam, okay, which is vishuddham? How can I do that? You can do that by saying that what you see is not real. This is the crux of Advaita Vedanta. This is the crux. So that leads me to to talk about kind of like the final stage of understanding. Final stage of the understanding. What are the stages? So roughly speaking, I would say, simplifying it, 3 stages. And so far we have focused on the first 2, not on the third. And this is what we need to do. First stage is, I do not have any distinction, I do not do any distinction between myself and the outside world. What the outside world is, and the outside world includes my own body-mind complex. Remember, whatever is observed is the outside world. Right? That's the definition. That's a good definition, because my own body is also observed. My own mind is also observed. In the form of thoughts, it's observed. You cannot say, I'm upset, unless you observe the thoughts which convey being upset. You cannot do that. So the first stage is, whatever is observed is superimposed on myself. I am upset. If the mind is upset, I am upset. Occasionally you might say, my mind is agitated. Occasionally you might say that. Most of the time, however, you say, I am agitated, I am upset. You don't make that distinction. Then so that's the first stage, where everything is just all mixed up together. Then the second stage is where through teaching it is pointed out that please see the distinction between yourself and the observed. You are the observer and this is the observed. And so all this is sketched out in great detail. The observer does not have, as it says, tam adi madhya anta vihinam ekam. It doesn't have any adi, means it doesn't have any beginning, doesn't have any middle, doesn't have any end. Whereas the observed has adi madhya antam, not vihinam. So this is one thing. You can see the distinction, that you are not the one that has a beginning. You cannot say that I had a beginning. Anytime you say have a beginning, supposing you argue that yes, of course I had a beginning, you have to involve the body. Without the body, you don't have any beginning. You may feel I am no one without the body. That's a separate issue. Yes, you are. So once it is established, it is very, very clear that there is a distinction between observed and the observer. Observed keeps changing. Observer doesn't. Observer has a beginning. Observer doesn't. So with those kinds of distinctions, we reach stage number 2, which is Viveka. A Viveka-based stage where say, I am different from the observed. This is the second stage, and this is what we have been around so far. This is not enough for moksha. Why is it not enough for moksha? Because there is still a duality in your mind. Duality in your mind. There is an observer is one thing, and observe is something else. These two coexist in the same plane of existence. So this is what is called sama adhikaranyam. Sama adhikaranyam or sama adhikaranyam. Sama adhikaranyam means they both exist in the same level of reality. You are also there, and the observed is also there. There is no peace when there is duality. The Shastra says, as long as duality exists, you do not have a peace of mind. You can logically prove it, but the fact of the matter is, this is a fact. Duality does not. If you have some otherness, you do not feel very comfortable. You may like the other, you may dislike the other. That's a separate thing. Even if you like the other, it is still an other. And there are concerns and fear that. So you see, this is the thing. This is interesting to see. Supposing you are at the stage of the second stage, you have Viveka. You are still incomplete. Because you are, at the very most, you are half of the circle, not the full circle. There is something other than you. And from there comes fear of the future. What will happen? Can I be affected by it? Right now I'm in meditation, so I feel I'm not affected by it. But what about your after meditation? The world becomes threatening again. And then you have to go back to meditation. Same problem with the yogis. So really speaking, the stage 2 is incomplete. It's not really. So then we go to the final stage, which is stage 3. Stage 3, we say, so what the teaching proceeds is, congratulates you for reaching stage 2. You become a Viveki. I'm glad that you're following all the logic about beginning, ending, not there in one, there being on the other, all of that is good. So very good, that's not easy to do, but at least you've accepted it, you are intelligent, you want to understand all of that. So congratulations. But do not rest there, because do not rest there too long. There is more steps in the journey. What are the steps? And how will I reach the end of my journey? There it is said is, the two observed and observer are not on the same degree of reality, my dear. No. The observed is not on the same degree of reality. It is non-threatening. How is that? So this is now the final analysis, stage 3. So what is said is, look at this. Can the observed be without the observer? Is it possible for the observed to exist and to be visible? So there are two things. One is that the observed exists, it is. And the second one is that it is known. Can these two things happen without the observer? This is what we need to now think about. Because if you can prove that the observed can exist along with the observer, without the observer and with the observer, then our entire thesis will be broken, if you can prove that. But you cannot prove that. You cannot prove that. So therefore, we proceed on the thought that the observed depends upon the observer. And now we go back to the examples to bring it to help us negotiate this challenge of thinking. And that is what is called the Vivarta examples. And the Vivarta example is that of a clay in various forms. It could be a small cup, it could be a glass, it could be a huge vessel for puja purposes, whatever it is. The forms and names of a pot like this, can that exist without the clay? This is the point. Is it possible for, even though it has some function, because it is made in a form that you can actually drink from it, you can put water into it, and you can drink from it. So it has some function. We agree with that. This is what is called Vyavaharika Sat. There's no, we accept that. All we are saying is, can you postulate the existence of the name and form without the basic without the basic ingredient? Swami Akhandananda in Hindi says masala. Can you think about this being without the masala? So you say, yeah, I think so. Okay, try. Let's see where does belong. So this is a pot. The weight of the pot is the weight of the clay. It doesn't have a separate weight. The color of the pot is the color of the clay. The touch of the pot is the touch of the clay. So you've really, if you had a separate weight and a separate color and a separate touch, then we would agree that the pot and the clay are in the same degree of reality. And you win and we lose. But you can't do that. So the pot is at a different level of reality than the clay. The pot depends upon the clay. It relies on the clay. This is the example. So now we go back to aparoksha jnanam. Just look at yourself as the observer. Is it possible for the observed to be without the observer? So you think about it and say, I can't prove it. No, I don't think so. But then you have an objection. The objection is that this example of the pot and clay, you're talking about the weight of the pot is the weight of the clay, color, etc., all that sort of a thing. That doesn't apply to us. Really? How do you say that? Because you say the observed has variety. It has color. It has motion. A lot of stuff is going on in the observed. None of that is going on in the observer. Right? There's a lot of stuff going on in the observer, and it does not appear to be present in the observer. So this violates the example that you said, because you yourself said that whatever is there in the pot is borrowed from the clay. Right? So really speaking, clay has all the ingredients that the pot is made out of. Okay? This is not the case in the case of the world that I experience. And you say that I'm the observer of this world, and you say that it really depends on you, and that much I can see. I can see that it depends on me. I cannot visualize, I cannot postulate, I cannot make it real that the world around me can exist without me. But I cannot understand the equivalence of this example to me because, what I said before, I don't see the ingredients of the world in me. And you yourself are saying that the Atma is different. It has no attributes. The world has attributes, and the Atma has no attributes. Right there and then you're violating your own statement. You're saying that the world has stuff that you don't have. So it cannot be like the clay and the pot. That's not possible for us to do. So this is my objection. Now this is a very important objection. This is the answer that we have to see. And we will see it in the last class. I want to make sure that you come back for it. So it will take me some time to develop it, and we will explain that. And I think that whatever I could tell, at least from the standpoint of conceptual logic, it will be a complete. Okay. We may not complete the various texts, the very mantras of the text, but then you have the book. You can always read that. So that's not going to be possible. But I think the more important thing is that we understand the very underpinnings of this whole Vidya, Brahma Vidya. And I think by tomorrow's class, I would have accomplished that. So I feel happy. And we also have the meditation tomorrow morning. I will also introduce it in the meditation also, and then also talk about it in the class in tomorrow night. And so that will make it complete. So that's the plan. Okay. All right. So let's close this class, and then we'll meet again at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Yes, sir.
Shri Vijay for teaching Kaivalya Upaniṣad for the students who attended in person and those watching online have all expressed their gratitude and appreciation for the ease and compassion with which we taught. Here we come of us. Vijay and Kapoor, we ask Ishvara to bless both of you with long life and sound health. We invite Vijayji and you all plan a yearly camp for 2025. It's my hope that it will be fruitful with the blessings of the Lord. It's a blessing for you to have Vijayji teach in California. So take advantage of all the opportunities that are available. Don't forget to join our online classes hosted at the Kapoor. Please refer to 2024 program booklet for details. It's my pleasure to thank all our staff and the kitchen department at the Ram and Tharavani and the crew. And we also thank our audio-video department, Mr. Salim, Richard, Chandra, and Kumar. Richard, you're around? I see you. Thank you. The same goes to for the main office, the housing, the maintenance, bookstore, and so on. The camp will conclude tomorrow morning with meditation at 8 a.m. and class at 9 a.m., followed by production. We will try to serve you early lunch at 11 a.m. so that you can leave for the airport on time. Vijay and all of you are sincerely thanked for attending this camp once again. May Lord Dakshinamurti and all the teachers grant you good health, devotion, and self-knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. 5:15? Oh, you mean that's always there? Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Please alter at 6:15 will be Arati and Satsang will be there, and tomorrow whatever the scheduled program will continue. Thank you all. Nice coming all of you to the camp. Hope it will happen next year. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I want to thank Sudhakar for graciously accepting us teaching standing. We all benefit from that, and I hope people who join the classes can also that too. Thank you.
I plan to thank Shuddhatmaji tomorrow, so I will wait to do that. Thank you so much.